What a privilege to bring Kellyanne Conway to the airwaves, longtime Republican pollster, now Donald Trump's new campaign manager, being pulled every which way by every media outlet in the world, literally kind enough to join us on the program. Kellyanne, thanks so much for jumping on the air with us this morning.
Joe, it's a complete pleasure. It's a pleasure to be with my friend Joe. And, I always prefer the Jersey crowd.
Well, we are so proud of you. You are looking great. You are doing great. You are making sense. You're shutting them down, Kellyanne. You are doing a stellar job. Congratulations, first and foremost.
Thank you, love. And I can promise you this. We are going to leave it all on the field. We will give it our best shot. And we've got a great candidate who's feeling really buoyant, who naturally connects with and communicates with people, not just as voters. And we feel really good about this policy-centric, substantive campaign. He's out there in the format where you've always seen him, Joe, for over a year, the rallies, the big events. But what is he talking about? He's talking about policy. So people who criticize him for not being specific, for being a showman and entertainer, they can just look at what he's saying. If they don't like his 10-point reform the Veterans Administration plan, fine. They can criticize his middle-class tax relief package. They can say, hey, I don't like your approach to ISIS, but at least they can read his plan and understand what it says. And she's in hiding. I mean, we hear more about Hillary Clinton through revelations about how she's lied again with respect to the pay-to-play, the State Department, the Clinton Foundation. They're just a hot mess over there. And we at least, my goal as campaign manager is for him to take the message directly to the American people, one, and two, to beat her on substance. The issue set benefits us. People are worried about Obamacare continuing as is. They're fearful of the rise of ISIS and random violence here and abroad. They are, even those who feel like they did well in the economic recovery, still wonder why everyday life is increasingly unaffordable. Folks are concerned about the quality of education. And he's taken the case right to the people, and he's taken the case right to Hillary Clinton. Let the Democrats explain why, after decades of their rule in these inner cities, we have such awful metrics to report for people who just deserve better.
You know what? We love you for that. I've been railing about that as the spokesperson for the Boys and Girls Clubs of New Jersey. Kellyanne, I've been talking about the Republicans, and I said at the podium, at the convention in Cleveland, let's hope they talk about inner cities. And bang, bang, I'm watching that speech. I'm there. I got chills down my spine, man. When Donald Trump mentioned inner cities, and then he stayed on point, and now he's reaching out to people of color. And as a former lifelong Democrat, I'm embarrassed at the situations of the inner cities. I mean, you can't emphasize that enough. And you know what? To your point about Hillary, Kellyanne, what's going on? Why is something wrong? I mean, something seems very askew there.
Well, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to go there. But I will tell you, I find their strategy to be very odd.
Yeah.
This is the first time that I can remember a presidential campaign is trying to let the voters see less of their candidate rather than more of their candidate. I mean, I'm working for a guy, Donald Trump, who can't get enough rallies. Give me more rallies, Cal. Get me more rallies. I love it. And it's just, he just wants to be the people. I want to go to this state and that state. And he's so pumped up. And then on the other hand, you've got them at the Clinton campaign knowing that scarcity is a benefit for her. That if you don't see her and we can make this election about him, then he'll lose. Guess what? This election is about the future, not the past. And this election is about the people, not the candidates, as it always is. That's true every time. But I think that she made a huge mistake in the last 2 weeks when starting 3 weeks ago for 2 weeks when the Trump campaign was having a really bad spate of days there. Joe, they should have put him away. She should have been going to visit the troops abroad. She should have been giving the seminal speech on healthcare and economic revitalization. Yeah. She should have gone into the inner cities. And you know what she did? We didn't see her. Yeah. I think it's part of their strategy. Scarcity is their strategy because she doesn't wear well. And when you see her, you're reminded why you don't like her and why you don't trust her.
It's a good point. And also all that's happening with the foundation, and which is virtually, in many of our minds, just plain illegal. But stay with me, Kellyanne, on this. Those of us who like Donald and support Donald, we see the movement. I see it online. There's just the passion for it. But then I look at the polls, and I'm saying if the election's held today, Donald wins, hands down. But there's something about that with Donald, that rigged election situation that scares me. That if Donald wins the popular vote, will he lose in the electorate? How do we get there? How do we ensure that Mr. Trump does win? Because the polls now are showing otherwise.
Yes, Joe, that's exactly the right question to ask and exactly the right frame of mind to have in looking at these polls with just 75 or so days to go. Got to focus on the swing states. Got to bring your message, the candidate appearances, the ground game, the field operation. Really just the fundamental campaign investments have to be in these 8 or 10 states where you get to 270 plus in a number of different ways. Then if we can expand beyond that, terrific. But you're right. The polls take a while to move, and I think some damage was done in the last several weeks, especially among Republican voters. He doesn't have as many Republican voters right now as Hillary has Democratic voters. So we need to get our base back. Really, they're sending a message. I don't really like the way this was handled or that message, but they'll be there for him. The other thing is that these debates, obviously, people say, oh, the debates will be so important, but they really will. You'll have historically high ratings, and you have two very different candidates in style, but more importantly, and this is our goal in these debates, Joe, you have two very different candidates substantively. Yeah. That's the place where she's not going to be able to hide whether she wants single payer system, what pieces of Obamacare she thinks are great. That's the place where we're going to call her out. Even if the moderator refuses to, we're going to call her out on her referring to ISIS as our, quote, determined enemies in her convention speech. Seriously? They're savage murderers. Coming to a town like yours. And so that's the place where she's not going to be able to hide. I think that would be very important. And also, let's face it, after Labor Day, you're going to have more Americans more focused on the race, thinking to themselves, okay, I don't like her and I don't much trust her. So what's the but? Joe, what could possibly follow with the but? But I'm going to go against my own conscience and vote for her. So there's a lot of work to do, though, and we're a little bit behind. We're slightly the underdogs, and I think that just lights a fire under us.
Yeah, Kellyanne, I will let you go. We appreciate your valuable time, and we can't tell you how proud we are of you being from Jersey and all, and just being on national television, and they're coming at you every which way. And I tell you, you're like a Supergirl up there. I swear to God, you're doing such a great job. How is it now, and how did you adapt to being a campaign manager? Have you ever done this before?
So I've been involved in many, many campaigns over my 28-year career in polling. But, Joe, I've never actually had this title and this role. But I've managed – the pollster, unfortunately, has an outsized role in many campaigns, although not necessarily for him since he doesn't really like paid polling. But I think what's happening here is it's a combination of messenger delivery and making sure that all of our disparate parts are organized. And it just takes leadership and it takes energy. And, look, I'm told I'm the first female presidential campaign manager on the Republican side, and I'm proud of that. I wasn't hired for my gender, certainly. I'm proud of that. But I also want to note we haven't had a successful presidential campaign manager on the Republican side for a non-incumbent since 2000. It's been 16 years. So I at least am happy to have my shot that others have had and have not necessarily leveraged to victory. And it's great. I just want to say something to your listeners and to you, Joe. There are so many talented, hardworking professionals at Trump Tower every day at that campaign that are not household names, that will never have, visibility to voice. They've been working so hard, and I love being among them every single day. That's what a campaign needs. You need that energy and that commitment and that loyalty. But look, I'm living the dream from the Blueberry Farm to the Trump campaign. Living the dream.
The Blueberry Princess of New Jersey, Atco, New Jersey, Kellyanne Conway.
You got it, babe.
God bless you. Godspeed, Kellyanne Conway.
I love you, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Love
Thank
you,
you,
too.
Frank. Take care now.
Thank you so much. Kellyanne Conway right there. Longtime Republican pollster, very, very respected in the business of politics. And now Donald Trump's new campaign manager. And just great. And as I watch her on CNN, watch Kellyanne on CNN, and Frank, I know you'll back me on this. Boy, they just come at her every which way. And she is flawless in deflecting these unnecessary attacks.
Oh, she's a brawler. She's as tough as they come.
A Jersey girl, baby. That's it. Jersey girl all the way. Thank you, Kellyanne Conway. And thank you, Frankie Five Barrels, for that, bringing Kellyanne on the air for us.